Welcome to the Ascension Alchemists podcast. This is Michael Abramson, and this is my solo broadcast, which I'm very excited to speak to you today. So, welcome. I'm very honored and excited to speak about this topic because I feel we all can relate to this in our personal growth and developmental areas within our life. For just this past weekend, I sat in a 3-day seminar that I never imagined I would, learning about taxes, generational wealth, and the business strategies of really how to grow and expand oneself in a business environment full of entrepreneurs. The reason I say this is because many of you know I extended myself into many years of the holistic health industry of more than 3 decades. And majority of my experience has been really working hands-on with health, wellness, and how to really promote healing within the body. So this past weekend, it was extraordinary to sit in an area that it was quite new and different. And I would like to ask everyone listening, have you ever been in a situation where you knew it was for your highest growth? You knew you were sitting on something very valuable, and you actually pushed yourself to learn something new or allowed yourself to experience something that maybe years before you would never see yourself in that situation? Well, that is exactly what I did this weekend because I knew there was something greater behind the message that was being taught. And I feel for all of us, there is this inner wisdom and knowledge when we start to push ourselves, or at least allow ourselves to move into areas of the unknown or areas that we may not be too familiar with. We start to expand ourselves into new areas that we never thought or imagined that we could. And for me, when I grew up and I looked at the business, entrepreneur, wealth, for some reason I went to the opposite of healing and health because it just seemed too critical, too, let's just say, extreme in what I saw in the 3D reality of the harshness of it. And so when growing up with healing parents, I noticed how the healing, wellness, and health presented a softer element that allowed me to move in an easy fashion. Yet this past weekend, I recognized that that was just an old program and limitation of my growth at that state because I was in a state of comfort surrounding what I knew. But have you ever put yourself in an area where you didn't know, but you were open to learn? And that's what today I'd like to speak about because I feel, and maybe you can ask yourself, when you're experiencing something brand new, and all of a sudden the neurotransmitters start firing, or all of a sudden you're being activated on an area that you never thought, how does that feel within yourself? What does it do to your confidence or your courage in moving to a place that you never thought you could ever imagine? Because for me, I was so surprised this weekend, which it was 3 back-to-back days of 12 hours of learning essential information, areas that could help promote myself and really learn about unique strategies, points that are not really mentioned in the common mainstream area. And I share this because I feel sometimes it's important to look at the unfamiliar in our lives, or to look at the unknown or areas that maybe we would not normally put ourselves into, but just give ourselves a chance to dive in, to jump in and feel what is it here that it's going to teach me that maybe my mental body will not fully understand, but when I sit and allow myself, there's a greater awareness that's going to help me evolve myself. For many of you know, my greatest passion, one of them is to really help individuals become the greatest version of themselves. And I know for that to happen, I'm demonstrating that in myself because it's a passion within me. And in self-development, I feel like this mind, this body, these emotions, we're constantly evolving them day to day to day. And when we put ourselves into growth opportunities, I feel it gives us this inner expansion that not only we get to use for ourselves, but we get to share with others. And I feel this topic is an area that could really help individuals move into where maybe they feel stuck or they feel a sense of obstruction, or maybe even a point of their lives they don't know where they want to go. Yet, when we start to dive into some of those areas that just don't feel comfortable, we lean into them, all of a sudden there becomes an outer edge that expands a little larger. Let alone, we start to see aspects within ourselves we never knew we had. I never knew that sitting in a class and learning about taxes would actually engage me to think deeper of what I could do in my own earnings. Or I didn't know sitting around all these amazing entrepreneurs gave me the opportunity just to hear the version from their perspective. Because how many times do we live life where we're only seeing it from a singular lens? Yet once we open up in our developmental process and we start seeing in a multidimensional lens, we become more aware. And I find that awareness provides more ease and grace through some of the challenges we move through in life. So, what challenge may you have right now? Or what problem that you may have right now that you could just give yourself a little nudge to move greater in a sense of awareness that could help you see from a greater lens or from a different perspective? Because that's exactly what I did with honey this past weekend, was move myself in an area that I did not have any common knowledge of it. Now, I'll tell you, as we move into these, have you noticed there's this joy, there's this excitement, but also there can become this vulnerability of not knowing, or even that mental little voice of saying, are you sure you want to go? This doesn't feel comfortable. This feels a little strange. I've learned that is normal, because I've recognized as I'm expanding through it, there's also these limitations within myself that are still embedded in these beliefs. And so what I recognize in this developmental of growth and expansion is the higher that I raise within myself, there are also limitations that are there that are coming along with the journey. And so sometimes these challenges may wake you up in the middle of the night and present themselves that have just been old habits or old patterns. So what have you done, or what do you think would be a great way to work with these? Because I know for myself, it's been a journey, is as I keep moving forward, there's also this ability to transform what's holding me back. And I recognize when coming and listening in seminar about money, all these limitations started to come up about the past beliefs I had them, what my view was, how society is deemed as it, what media, what marketing, all these areas started to come up. But what was interesting is I didn't judge it this time. I didn't go into any negative belief pattern. I just brought the lens of awareness to it. The reason I share this is because what happens when you start to move into an area that is brand new, into unfamiliar, and as these come up, does it give you now a choice point or a decision now to meet it in a new way than you've done before? Can you actually just observe it without judgment and just see, okay, this opportunity has come up for me at a different lens because I'm at a higher consciousness to deal with it. And it can be any topic, any subject, or any area. What I recognize in myself in the past is when something uncomfortable comes up, when I'm learning something new or I'm being challenged, that discomfort can get louder and louder because somewhere I put my mental focus on it. But what I've recognized lately is instead of putting so much focus on the problem or the challenge, I'm now shifting my lens to the solution, to the excitement, to the ability of like, wow, what is this opportunity giving me that I've never seen before? What can I learn right now that can really help me in an area that I've never really embraced in myself? And how can I move through this knowing that I'm here right now to take away, if not one, many areas that can help improve me? That's what I love about self-developmental programs, because they give the opportunity to show aspects of ourselves that we can really rise and be the fullest, greatest version of ourselves. That's why for many of you, I love to customize private healing self-developmental programs. These are areas to help individuals move past their blocks, move into their highest levels of growth and expansion, and really to reveal their inner gifts within. That is why many of you have seen me leading these men's circles that I'm so excited in next week to be going back down to Sarasota and offer a whole new structure to help men see what they have within them and to help expand them. Because literally, I just finished the past 4 months, this 12-week journey of helping men evolve to the greatest version of themselves. It's called the Conscious Evolved Man. I'm actually releasing this 12 series self-video paste in November. And it's really going to help men become aware of these powerful 12 principles that allow them to embody, align, and become the fullest version of themselves, leading to great happiness, joy, prosperity, and abundance. And the reason I share this is because growth is essential. Change happens every single day. And in our culture, sometimes we're taught to stay comfortable, stay in a place where we move very slow, and stay where you only know what's familiar. Yet in self-developmental programs, in growth, and putting yourself in new places, it helps expand and evolve to areas that I feel open up the greatest opportunities of yourself and the greatest version to expand, that not only has surprised me, but I see in so many others that lifts them to new opportunities. We've met so many incredible people the past week. We've connected with individuals that have opened our eyes and shared their stories, and I feel each of us have a perfect place in the gifts that we have. And when we develop them, when we grow upon them, and we expand upon them, then we start to live what I feel is the greatest aspect that we've come here to do. We can live in good, mediocrity. But what happens when we live in excellence? What happens when we move into our supreme, world-class nature? That's what I feel we're here to do, and that's what I feel these opportunities to step into the unknown, unfamiliar programs, areas that may be in the past that may not seem like they're the greatest interests. But watch what happens when you surprise yourself and you just leap into areas that all of a sudden there are gold nuggets, wisdom, and pieces that are here to help all of us grow and expand. And that's why I'm so excited for next week, because I'm jumping back into a beautiful community that I'm deeply connected to. And I'm going to be presenting a golden light activation meditation, a day of private healings, and a men's circle that's going to be newly structured so that individuals can see what happens when we expand to the fullest version of ourselves, let alone launch these programs. Because when we really understand that this soul feeds upon the energy within us and around us, then knowledge, wisdom, and all that we bring within us actually becomes our food and medicine that we can literally take in each and every day. That's why Honey and I are so passionate about really serving from this place of embodying the wisdom so that we can share that and align to it, and allowing others to see that they have the same potential within you. And so today, I'm excited to share this because I really feel we're in a leap of consciousness. We're in expansion right now that's moving us up to areas we've never seen within ourselves. And as all of us jump deeper into areas that help grow and expand, I feel it unlocks the opportunities within us to serve, to help, and to really bring forth what I see is our greatest dreams and desires that we're here. So today, maybe look at areas within yourself. Maybe ask yourself, what may seem unfamiliar? What's something that could help promote my growth? What's an area of expansion that can really help lift me, even if it feels uncomfortable, and dive into it? And I'm sure you may be surprised from it, because for me, walking out of that 3-day conference, it really helped me see an area that I would never imagine from a whole new perspective that has not only inspired me, but it's helped me see that there are points of focus that sometimes we unconsciously avoid because it doesn't feel comfortable. Yet when we start to expand and open ourselves to the discomfort, the highest growth happens. And I feel in that highest growth, then what reveals to us are some of the greatest gifts, because they are the unexpected levels of health, wealth, generosity, kindness that the universe naturally gives us when we show up in our fullest version of ourselves, in our greatest expansion, because that's what I feel we're here to do, to live in joy, to live in happiness, to live in peace and prosperity, and to live in the fullest nature, as we see all around us in this beautiful world. So once again, thank you all for joining this podcast today, and I implore you to go out and see what you can do today, this week, to develop an area within yourself that may be an area that you may not feel comfortable with, or a place that you could grow and expand to, and see what happens. Leave a message. Let us know. Otherwise, I look forward to our next episode in this beautiful podcast of Ascension Alchemists.